Hey everyone, welcome back to Shop Life. We're finally putting the F80 on the lift for the first time. We've had it for about a month and a half, almost 2 months, and we've driven it across the country. From North Carolina, we drove it here. If you guys want to watch the whole video of us purchasing it and all that, it's on the vlog channel, so make sure it'll be linked down below. Make sure you go check that out. And then after that, I mean, we've driven it quite a bit. You know, I've already know what I like, what I don't like. We've already purchased quite a few things for this car as well. But today we're just gonna put on the lift and just look at the whole car. I mean, I've jacked it up when I did the oil change back at home, but I really didn't get to, you know, get the full overview of everything. So we're gonna put it up. We'll see what all's cracked as far as any like plastics and stuff, what looks worn and what doesn't look worn, and just look at the differences between the F80 and what I'm used to as far as the E90, the F30, the E46s. Just look at all the differences. So let's put it on the lift. Alright, so let's see what a 56, almost 57,000 mile F80 M3 looks like underneath. So a little bit of backstory, this car was on the East Coast originally. I'm almost positive it was bought in New Jersey, and from there it went down the East Coast, down to Georgia, Florida, around that area, and then I picked it up in Georgia and brought it straight here. So pretty much the first 50,000 miles were on the East Coast. So I'm expecting a little bit of surface rust, but let's find out. Alright, first things first, whoever had the car before, I mean this car's not even that low, but whoever had it before, I mean they scraped up a few spots. This little rubber part got messed up on this side. This side's even worse. This side they actually cracked the fender liner right here. And I mean they really got this really bad. But luckily for us, what we're going to be doing is we're going to put a lip on it, and the lip actually covers all of this. And they actually have the splitter part that goes right here as well, that's made out of carbon fiber. That'll cover that up. Same with the other side. So yeah, I mean they got it really good. But they probably went over like a whole parking stop. But yeah, continuing on. Surprisingly, there's no leaks. It's a BMW. I expect them to leak as soon as they leave the showroom floor, but there's no leaks yet. There's a little bit of residue where the oil drain plug is, but that's probably just from, you know, an oil change before. When I did it, you know, I made sure I cleaned everything around here, and there doesn't seem to be any leaks over there. So we're good with that. The rest of the covers are actually all intact. Even the under tray, usually when you jack it up right here, because this is the front jacking point, it'll actually crumble or crumple a little bit, but this one seems pretty good still. It's pretty dirty. I mean, it's not really dirty, but it's like, you know, it's got a good layer of dirt on it. There's not really any leaks, so there's not really any gunk stuck to it. As far as the suspension goes, yes, we do have the big, massive calipers. These are actually made by Brembo. It even says it right there. So they're Brembo calipers. This car does not have the EDC, so the struts and shocks are just normal ones. But all that stuff looks fine. I mean, the struts aren't leaking. The sway bar links are still intact. The headlight level sensors, they're still intact. They're not really anything wrong with that. All the wiring looks good. I don't see any rust, or not really even any surface rust. This is aluminum. It's got a little bit of oxidation, but that's going to be normal. Then now the exhaust, yeah, that's definitely rusted. I'm almost positive when I go to pull off these nuts for the studs, for the exhaust, this is going to break off. I mean, you can see how bad they're rusted. But even this tray right here, usually, you know, you start getting all cracked, or if someone runs over something, it'll be all damaged, but it seems all good. This one's good, which tells me nobody's jacked it up by accident from, you know, the wrong part. And most of these covers, I mean, these bolts, they don't look like they've been taken off. Usually you can tell when there's like a little bit of scratching on it, or if they got stripped a little bit. But all that stuff looks normal. Even for all the side skirts, everything looks normal. Now this cover's a little loose, but I'm pretty sure that's just how it is from factory. I mean, there's not really anywhere else for it to attach. We've got all the bracing still. The exhaust is actually pretty big. It's not, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's either 2 3/4 or even maybe 2.5 to 2 3/4 inch all the way through. And then here are the, I believe, the secondary cats or the resonators. And the downpipes in the front, they're actually pretty easy to access, so I'm pretty sure we can change those out without removing the intake manifold or anything like too crazy. Should be able to have good access to that. And now BMW definitely has stepped up their game as far as the whole seam sealer. They don't really have undercoating on all the panels, like the full panel like how the older chassis do, but they do have this seam sealer in every gap or every corner. Now back here, so as far as this goes now, this is where I'm starting to see all the surface rust. So we've got a little bit of surface rust on these exhaust hangers and the bolts and the nuts that attach to them. Even the differential, like there's a couple parts where it's starting to rust, which I'm pretty sure we're probably going to have to address that. We could just put some kind of undercoating or something. And ooh, seems like it's a little gunk. Oh no! Well, I think I spoke too soon. There is a leak. It seems to be coming from the seal for the axle on the passenger side. So the differential is leaking from right here, which, damn, that sucks. And it's only got 50-some thousand miles. This should not be leaking this early. The other side isn't, only the passenger side is. See it now? It's leaking from right here in this seal. You see all the buildup? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not good. We're gonna have to address that actually as soon as we can. Hopefully this chassis doesn't have any subframe problems. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I'm pretty sure they actually fixed that issue with the E90 and newer. The rest of the suspension in the back, I mean, looks pretty good. I don't see any crazy rust spots. I don't see any torn boots or any of the bushings being torn or starting to crack. Everything seems pretty healthy. Now, I mean, inside when I'm driving, I can pretty much tell if there's any worn suspension components. I mean, everything is broken in, I would say. Like, at least, I mean, it's got 50,000 miles. And I mean, for the most part, everything's still really tight. There's no play in anything. And that's also partly because of the steering system on here. I mean, it's very, very tight steering. And since it is assisted a little bit, you know, you can mess with the assist settings to get it however you want it. And now this does have the cutouts. So it's a Valvetronic muffler. There's 2 valves right here. So whenever you have these valves opened up, it's a little bit louder because it bypasses the muffler a little bit and comes straight out the exhaust. So that's actually, I'm really surprised how small those valves are. And I mean, that would actually be really good to retrofit into any other BMW for that matter, or any car. You can just take those valves off and just put them in on any other car that you want to put cutouts. And that'll just make for a really clean setup, and they're really not that big. Most of the other cutouts that we use, like the aftermarket ones, they're quite a bit bigger. And now here we have the exhaust. I mean, we really haven't detailed this car that well yet. So I mean, all this is just built up over the years. Nobody's really cleaned them or polished them up. But we're probably gonna be looking into a different exhaust anyways, so we're not really too worried about that. So it's kind of pointless for me to spend my time saying they're cleaning them and polishing them up. Especially because we are gonna try to do as much of the stuff as we can right away. That way, you know, we're not I mean, we're gonna try to address all the stuff that we wanna do as soon as we can. That way we can really enjoy the car from the beginning on how we want it. And then eventually down the road, if we ever wanna change anything, we can. We're not gonna sell any of the stock stuff because, especially because this is probably the newest car that we've owned. And for us to, you know, be able to have all the stuff that it was with from factory is actually really cool, because usually all the cars that we've had, you know, a lot of the stuff is already taken out. It's been through a couple of owners, so they take some of the stuff that they want out, they change things. So we actually have everything is original to the car, so we can keep everything that we like, even the wheels. All right, so now that I've got it on the lift, I've been able to take a look at, you know, pretty much what the major differences are in terms of suspension design, and even that whole underside of the car. I mean, there's so many differences. Few things that actually disappointed me were that differential oil leak, obviously. I wasn't expecting that. And also, there's surface rust in a lot of spots, which, I mean, it's not on the chassis, it's just on bolts and fasteners and stuff. So that's not too big of a deal. I mean, I can take those off, clean them up, paint them, whatever I need to do. Differential, there's a couple of spots where there's surface rust on there as well. Whenever I end up fixing that leak, I'll have the differential. I mean, I'll clean everything out and undercoat that really well too, so that way it doesn't get any more rust on it. Besides that, a few of the plans, I mean, we've already bought a few things for the car. You're gonna have to stay tuned to figure out what we bought. It's something that a lot of people are not gonna do, but hopefully that doesn't give it away. It might give it away. We definitely want to do a few cosmetic things, like the lip, diffuser, just change up a few things, nothing too major. After the suspension, we'll also do wheels. And then as far as power goes, so one of the most crazy and scary failures on this car, in this specific motor, the S55, is the crank hub. That likes to spin, and when that spins, you're gonna mess up a lot of stuff internally. So that's something that we're gonna address first before we start doing any crazy power gains. So crazy power gains, most likely what we'll probably end up doing is bigger turbos. I know Pure Turbos, they have the stock casings with upgraded internals. Might do that, or we might find a different type of big turbo manufacturer. Downpipes, do a custom exhaust. Before the downpipes and turbos, we're definitely gonna do the exhaust, because we're not too fond of the way that it sounds. We'll still try to keep those cutouts, just put it in our own custom exhaust. I don't think we're gonna buy anything off the shelf. We're just gonna try to make our own however we want it, and try to just tune the sound to what we like. Besides that, that's pretty much sums it up for most of the upgrades that we wanna do and what we wanna change. And make sure you guys stay tuned, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to my main and vlog channel, matter of fact. That way you guys can stay up to date. We're gonna be posting on both, depending on what I'm doing to the car. Anyways, make sure you go check us out on social media as well. We'll have everything linked down below, and we'll have all the other videos that we've already done on this car linked down below as well. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for all the exciting updates that we have for this car.
No beamer when I pull in the sun. Change on me just like Polo the Don. Don't be fronting, girl, you know I'm the one. Number 2 is not an option, and they know they can't stop me. Take off, I can't take no breaks off. I've been working hard.